One of the most difficult things to do with a patellar tendinopathy is attempting to rehab it in season. It's pretty easy to do out of season if an athlete follows a four-stage process, but what do you do if they're currently playing their sport? This 2021 study looked at that exact problem. They said activity modification is a key component of patellar tendinopathy treatment, but there is a lack of evidence guiding activity modification prescription. This is basically asking how can athletes simultaneously rehab tendinopathy while playing sport. This was first researched back in 2007 on people with Achilles tendinopathy. They took two groups, the same rehab program, one group on pain-free activity where they had to avoid the sporting activity, and one on pain-guided activity that could continue sporting activity. The groups were separated just for the first 6 weeks of rehab. In the pain-free group, they couldn't do any running or jumping, but they could swim, run in deep water, bike, or walk if they wanted. In the pain-guided group, they could do anything as long as the pain wasn't on a level 5 or greater, and the pain had to subside by the following morning, and pain and stiffness in the Achilles tendon were not allowed to increase from week to week. At the end of 6 weeks and at the end of 12 months, they found no significant differences between the two groups. No negative effects could be demonstrated from continuing Achilles tendon loading activities such as running and jumping with the use of a pain monitoring model during treatment. Since this was effective in the Achilles tendon, let's go back to the other study, the 2021 study, to see if it worked in the patellar tendon. Just like with the Achilles study, this was separated into two groups. They were on the same exact rehab program. It was 3 times per week for 12 weeks. Very simple. It was a squat, a leg extension, a leg press, 3-second eccentric, 3-second concentric. They started out with higher rep range, 15 rep max, worked down to a 6 rep max by weeks 9 to 12. For the first 6 weeks, they were separated into the two groups, pain-guided activity and pain-free activity. In pain-guided, they could continue their normal activity as long as pain did not exceed a 5 out of 10 during or immediately after, and pain should return to pre-activity levels by the following morning. In the pain-free activity, there was no running, jumping, or activities that provoke patellar tendon pain outside of treatment. They could go swimming or use the elliptical. They did evaluations at baseline, 6 weeks, and 12 weeks on symptom severity, quality of life, psychological factors, tendon morphology and mechanical properties, lower extremity function, and quadriceps muscle performance. The primary aim was not to see if pain-guided was better than pain-free, but just to see if pain-guided was feasible or not. They said, we observed changes that exceeded the smallest detectable change for each domain of tendon health. They also said the use of a pain-guided activity modification during treatment for patellar tendinopathy appears feasible. So what does all this mean for an in-season athlete? This could mean that you do not need to sit out completely while you do your rehab. As long as you're using the pain scale, not exceeding a 5 out of 10, watching pain during, immediately after, and the day following, you could be able to compete in sport while rehabbing your patellar tendon.